Hey everybody!
Hey everybody, Naj and Jay here, and we are so excited.
Yes, extremely.
That we obviously want to talk over each other. We're excited to be here. We are interviewing the artistic director and teaching fellow of the Wilmington Children's Chorus.
Would you two like to introduce yourselves to the people, please?
Sure. I'm Kimberly Doucette, but everybody just calls me Kim, and I'm the artistic director.
Oh no, already?
We're all so excited.
I too am very excited to talk.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm Ariel Alvarado, and I'm the teaching fellow of the Children's Chorus.
And before we get started, there are two things that I need to say.
Are you going to start right there?
Number one, my mom's name is Kim.
Oh,
Beautiful.
So this is already on a great path. And then,
She went right to 10 on that. I can't believe you did
we
that.
cannot not talk about. See?
Okay.
Look, she's got the locks.
thank you for...
She's a black woman. She can sing. Can you swim?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a little hesitation in there.
I know. There's a difference between being able to save someone swimming and swimming for yourself.
Wait. Now that we are all the way off topic from the beginning, I would like to jump in with the swimming thing because funny fact about me is I took swimming at Morehouse.
Oh, of course.
And at University of Delaware, and I still really can't swim. And we digress.
Listen,
I can't save, and I'm not going to try to save anybody else.
Right.
but you can save
But I
yourself.
can save myself. And that's where we are.
So why don't we start with the big event that you guys have coming up on Saturday? Whoever wants to kind of take that and explain to the people what's going on, let them know.
Wow. Well, the big event is super exciting. It features Ariel as our conductor, and it's bringing together both actually three organizations. The Wilmington Children's Chorus is presenting the concert, but we have the Choir School of Delaware and Delaware Choral Arts coming to join us, all in honor of an amazing musician from Wilmington. He was born in Wilmington. While he passed away in 2013, his legacy still lives on and is really baked into the music here in Wilmington. And his name was Daniel Ridout Jr. And he was, like I said, he was born here in Wilmington. He moved to Maryland for a while, went to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, studied music education there, and then he came back to Wilmington and he was a teacher in our schools, ended his career in the public schools as a counselor at AI DuPont High School.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I didn't know
he
that.
transitioned into counseling, primarily, he said, to really shepherd folks through that period of integration.
Did you know that this is National Counselor Week? It really is. The timing of that is immaculate.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. Continue. That's fantastic. Yeah.
And he was also a director in a lot of our churches, director of music. So he directed at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church, which is now folded into St. Andrews and Matthew Episcopal Church, which is where the Wilmington Children's Chorus was founded. So that connection there is really strong. And he nurtured and mentored so many young black musicians here in Wilmington that are now the foundation of our Wilmington music scene.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that you are, bringing more attention to him because, we all hear so much about Clifford Brown, who's equally significant in Boise and that legacy, but I feel like that name isn't brought up anywhere near enough, so I really just appreciate that you're bringing that to everyone's attention. So
yeah, and Wilmington Children's Chorus is all about community, right? Connecting with our community and nurturing the next generation, and we really saw alignment there. So while Daniel Ridout Jr. isn't like a big name out there in the whole world, he's huge in Wilmington, and that was really what spoke to us about his legacy and fostering this next generation, both through our children and the work that we do with the Wilmington Children's Chorus, but through this really intentional fellowship, trying to really lift up the next generation of young BIPOC music educators and choral conductors.
Wow.
yeah. And I mean, I'll run, so
Go ahead.
please. But I mean, and here you are. So you want to kind of just give us, from your end, can you tell us about the event specifically for now and
Sure.
your involvement and all that?
So it's been a really unique and interesting opportunity for me to kind of craft an entire collaborative experience like this. I've planned concerts before, but I've never had a chance to work with such a diverse group of talent and diverse group of people before. We have about 120 plus people who will be singing all in the concert, and we have one combined piece together.
I was going to say,
yeah, we're gonna do one combined piece together. So it's gonna be really, really amazing. And I think Dan Ridout's legacy and in my own life, we're both pastors' kids, we're both steeped in music, like there are so many parallels between who he was as a person and who I'm hoping to be as a person, and as I continue in this music. And so it's been just amazing to put it all together, and it's stressful because there's lots of hands waving, lots of hand waving that has to, right, and lots of hand waving that has to happen. But we're in a really solid place, and we have our dress rehearsal tonight, and so I'm really excited to see what the energy will be when all of those groups get together. It's gonna be something really good.
How long is the concert going to be?
About an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes max. There's transitions and people. We have some soloists. Madeline Bolden Johnson, who is one of his direct students. She's an 86-year-old soprano, and she has the voice of when she started. And so she's going to be singing on this concert.
I mean, I feel like we have to make that point. Like, this is, especially all of us are singers, like the idea that if you sing correctly, your voice should not
It will last your entire life. And of course, the voice ages and it grows with you as a person, but the core of her singing is fabulous, and it has maintained because she's done it really well. So she'll be a featured soloist on this concert. And then there's a young cat that I met through another organization, Tim Hurt, who's studying at Temple University. He's a wonderful bass baritone, and he'll do a solo selection and be a soloist for the combined piece. So it's even this idea of like cross-generational music making, cross-racial music making that's going to be happening, which really speaks to me, and I think really speaks to Dan Ridout's legacy as well. So it's going to be a big to-do. You do not want to miss it. You want to be in the house.
And most of the music on the program is composed or arranged by Daniel L. Ridout Jr.
Wow.
Some by his father, actually, Daniel Ridout Jr. And then a couple of other pieces, I think, that really reflect Ariel's influence and her legacy.
Yeah. So my mentor, B.E. Boykin, who was also a Spelman woman, she was a teacher while I was there as a student, and so we've kept in contact, and she's, cracked the whip and helped me figure out what this life in music can look like. And so we're doing one of her movements of this big new work that she composed called American Prophecy. And then we're also doing another piece arranged by Andre Thomas, where when you talk about Black choral conductors, you can't not talk about Andre Thomas, because he is one of the progenitors and one of the real, scouts, and really figured out what this life can look like in music. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome.
So where is the concert? Is it here?
It's gonna be at the Episcopal Church of Saints Andrew and Matthew.
Same church, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Yep, 8th and Shipley.
What time?
It's gonna be at 3 p.m. Doors open at 2:45, and you want to get in on time, please.
And how much are tickets?
Tickets are
$20 for adults, and then $15 for seniors and students, I believe, and then $10 for children.
Okay.
So
me and Jay had had the wonderful opportunity of connecting with Opera Delaware, Carrie Ann Otaño.
Yeah.
And during the process of interviewing her and becoming friends and understanding different things she was talking about with opera, there was a lot that I didn't realize about how I thought about music and singing. And hearing you talk about composers and about pieces and about choral singing, it made me think about how I felt about opera. I always felt like opera wasn't touchable. And with choir or choral music, I've done it, but I don't quite, it's not as touchable to me as well as with like gospel or R&B, soul. So can you talk to the people about what makes this touchable for all of us?
So, yeah, I mean, first of all, gospel, R&B, soul, all of that we can do in choral music too. So we very intentionally try to incorporate many different styles into what we do at the Wilmington Children's Chorus. So while this concert really is kind of focused on the Negro spiritual, because a lot of Daniel L. Ridout Jr.'s arrangements are spirituals, and a couple of other different choral pieces that are a little bit more contemporary, we really run the whole gamut in the Wilmington Children's Chorus. Our concert, our holiday concert last year in 2022 was all music, Christmas music for the 50s to the 90s. And this year we did all Latin American music for our holiday concert. So we try to explore and expose our kids to a diversity of styles and learn about all of those cultures in that process. Because that's really what children's choirs do. They teach us about how to sing and how to read music, but also about what our world is and how to connect with our world and with each other.
Yeah.
And I want to say that, like, while it hurts my heart that you feel like choral music has been like an untouchable thing, that your intuition is right. That there are structures and people and ways of being that have kept people who look like us and music that sounds like music that we're familiar with from being in that space.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to recognize that history and realize that that is not the only way in which choral music can make, because the essence of choral music is the ability to bring people together, to use the voice is the only instrument that is within us. And it is such a powerful thing when you get people together like that. And so it's important to acknowledge that there have been forces and people and ideologies that have kept it sounding like and looking like a very particular thing. But that's part of why I came to children's chorus, because of this fellowship, and part of, you know, why I wanted to be a choral conductor in general was I knew what music was, I knew what singing was and how powerful that was. And I wanted to make it accessible for as many people as possible. And I think we're doing a really good work here at Children's Chorus.
So if you know anything about me, like, part of my story is that I had zero interest in music up until I got to undergrad. And the irony of the fact that choral music is what basically drew me into music. And as someone who was like, I actively tortured my high school chorus teachers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm very interested, as we're on this point, the most encouraging, like, as someone who's, you know, pretty much in old head territory now, I'm always worried about the future.
Sure.
And there's nothing that's more encouraging than seeing someone like you know, kind of take things over to an extent.
Sure.
So can you just explain how you chose to go in the route that you took?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. So I come from a really musical family. My older brother and my father are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful pianists and keyboardists.
Wow.
They both can sing very well too. If I could sing like my mother, we probably would not be having this conversation right now, because I would be somewhere else doing something else. Because that woman can sing. And so I grew up in music and was always steeped in singing, and that always meant the world to me. And then I grew up in a children's choir as well. I grew up in the Spivey Hall Children's Choir under the direction of Dr. Martha Shaw. It's my choir
I love
mama.
that she knows all these names. Like, I love it.
You know, I try to store them away somewhere.
I hope somebody remembers my name.
Oh, we do. We do.
Your legacy is being built very strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting in choir one day at 12 years old, and I was just sitting, and my choir mama used to do these moments, life lessons with Dr. Shaw, and she would, you know, inside jokes like, don't hit the deer, I'll tell y'all about that another day, or hit the deer, I'll tell y'all about that another day, and things like that, just teaching us not only how to be good musicians, but how to be good people.
Right.
And I looked up and was like, I want your job. And from there, it's just been doing whatever I can to figure out first how to wave my arms, and like bothering her during our dinner break to you know, ask questions, and the very few occasions where she'd let me conduct a couple of things as a high schooler. But I knew at 12 that waving my arms and yelling at people was what I was called to do. And so I just went for it.
You could have been an air traffic controller, you know what I'm saying? Like, why not do that?
But I was also really musical, so I was like, okay, how to make those two things fit together. And that's been it. I can play keys, I can play other instruments, but the voice has always been the most natural thing for me.
Yeah.
So choral conducting was kind of the answer to make that happen. But then also, like, realization at 12 that I want to have that job, and then realization at 16 that, man, there isn't anybody who looks like me that I know.
Ooh, wait.
Yes.
I just have to say this. I've always thought 12 was a pivotal year for people.
Yeah, because I was thinking about getting another Optimus Prime, Transformer. That's where I'm marveled. I'm thinking about like, how can I get my next Transformer? And she's like,
Okay.
I want to do this, but
Well,
yeah.
at 12,
Right.
My God. Well, at 12, that's when I realized I wanted to sing. And my dad taught me verbatim, like just singing it to me, all the first gospel songs I ever learned.
That's amazing.
So I get, and for me, a lot of my friends who decided to sing, 12, 13 were the ages where they were like, okay, something's happening.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, there's a particular level, I think, knowing now developmentally the way in which we as humans understand music, I think 12 for music really is that place, because when you watch a 1-year-old and what they can do versus a 2-year-old and what they can do, at the point in which you're 12 years steeped in something, that's when your own, it's no longer a regurgitation or just a copycat. Like at that point, you're doing something with that from your whatever own place that comes from.
Right.
So I think that 12 really is a really pivotal place for young musicians to kind of figure out what they want to do.
Yeah, except for Jay.
Except for Jay.
I should be a
he was-
Decepticon.
You are.
I
Whatever
should
that
be
is, I'm sure you
Megatron,
are.
and I'm not. And I failed at life. No.
Should have joined the chorus.
Right, still time.
Should have joined the chorus.
Right.
Giving your teacher so much help. Just-
Right. 100%.
Can you tell us your background and then you tell us your back, like, where you grew up and, what your influences were?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in central Pennsylvania, right where
I
Penn
didn't
State
know that.
University
I didn't
is.
know
Yep.
that. Okay,
I was
cool.
a
Okay.
college town kid. So, and my dad worked at the university. My mom was a kindergarten teacher.
Oh.
Yeah, and we had great music in our schools, and so music was a part of me ever since I was kindergartner, I guess. And I knew I wanted to sing when I was 7, actually, so maybe because it was a little earlier than 12. But my mom took me to audition for The Sound of Music, and I ended up being Marta in The Sound of Music.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yep. And then I kind of just continued. My parents, took me to voice lessons, and I got to take some dance, do a little exploration, got super into musical theater for a while. And then as I got into high school, I started studying with a retired professor from Penn State who introduced me to some more classical repertoire. I was doing all the district choir, regional choir, all-state choir things that they have in Pennsylvania. It's a whole system.
Yeah.
And then I knew I wanted to go into music in college and study a little bit more on the classical side of things.
Because I feel like I know you first through Opera Delaware. I think that's correct, right?
So I came
You
to
did opera?
Wilmington. Yeah, I did. I came to Wilmington because I went to the University of Delaware for my master's, and they had a partnership with Opera Delaware at that time.
Okay.
So I did a little bit of work with their stage director, and he was like, well, come and audition for Opera Delaware. So I did a couple of operas with
Was
them.
that Lee at that time? Lee
Yeah,
Kimball?
Lee Kimball,
Okay, cool.
exactly. Yep. Kind of, worked my way up to from compromarioros to like a lead role, and then I was like, you know what? I think this isn't filling my soul in the way I thought it would. So my voice teacher at that time, David Christopher, introduced me to another project that he had, the Wilmington Children's Chorus, and he was like, I need someone to come and help me out. And I had a music education degree as well. He was like, do you want to come? And I was like, sure, I'll try it out. And that just became my life.
Wow.
Yeah, the actual connection with the kids and really feeling like you're making a much bigger difference than when you're on stage. Not that opera singers don't make a very important contribution. It just didn't fill me in the way that I
Right.
thought it would.
Yeah.
And so how did you bring this wonderful young person to us? How did that happen?
Wow. Well, so Wilmington Children's Chorus, we've been around since 2002, and just like Ariel's
I had
been...
no idea.
Yeah, right.
It's so wild.
You didn't know. You
We're
know I
getting
didn't
old,
know.
Jay.
I know that's what it really is. It's like oh boy. But yeah.
Yeah, but this journey with the Wilmington Children's Chorus, we have always been all about access, because when we were formed, we were connected with the City of Wilmington and City Fest Inc., their nonprofit arm of the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs.
Yeah.
We were also connected to the Episcopal Church of Saints Andrew and Matthew, a kind of a community program housed in that church. And both of those sides of the coin really wanted to reach into the community and provide access to musical opportunities for everyone in Wilmington and to bring people together in a very intentional way. And when we started the Wilmington Children's Chorus, this idea of access was really baked into the program. But, as Phil, my husband, and I, we kind of also got working together. He's now our associate director. We were really realizing that access isn't enough. And we're wondering, why aren't we reaching the kids that we feel like most need this program? So that was kind of like a 2006 journey. I know everybody's on that journey now. But, we started exploring that, and thinking, and I came from central Pennsylvania. That really wasn't a part of my consciousness. I'm sorry to say.
No, listen, that's your reality.
It's part of the growth process, and we're all still growing in many ways. We really started learning about what it is to be inclusive, not just trying to be diverse, but how do we really provide access in a very inclusive way? How do we offer opportunities that aren't just a community-based choir where kids have to come and audition and have regular transportation, incredible amounts of support that are required to do a performing choir, like our performing choir side of our programs. So we were like, okay, we need to take this program to where the kids are. So we created our neighborhood choir program, and that actually for many years was a partnership, and to some extent still is, with Opera Delaware, to provide a program right in after-school programs in community centers and after-school sites and embedded into schools, so we can bring the choir directly to children who wouldn't otherwise have access. Now we also have our early learners program, so we can start as early as 6 weeks old and really foster those musical skills at a young age. So how do you take someone who otherwise would, not have the money to enroll in early childhood music classes? Those are incredibly prohibitive. They're usually mommy and me or parent and me kind of classes, and happening on a Saturday morning, and not everyone can maintain that kind of schedule. So we take those directly into preschools and sites where those kids are.
I love that.
And that idea of how do we bring music to our entire community and create pathways from 6 weeks old all the way up to 18 when you're moving on to college or career for everyone in our community, not just for people who look like me or have my middle class background. So that's really where the fellowship came from too, because we looked out, just like Ariel said, we looked out at our choral field, as so many folks were doing in the time of COVID and all of the racial reckoning that was happening here in our country, and saying, how can we contribute to this? How can we bring something of value and foster a generation of incredible musicians like Ariel?
And so I heard about the opportunity. The American Choral Directors Association has a national conference every year. This past year, it was in February, and it was in Cincinnati, Ohio. I had just the week before did my graduate recital to finish my master's degree program at The Ohio State University. So me and a couple of the students, we drove down to Cincinnati, 'cause it was like an hour-and-a-half drive to go to the conference. And then Ariel and Harley Emerson, who's another name out here, they just started the choral cookout for just the Black choral conductors to hang out. It was
I love
awesome.
that.
It was so great. They were playing spades. It was a crazy time. It really was, and so much fun. And so Ariel stands up at some point in the cookout and is like, "Hey, I have an opportunity that I just heard about for young Black choral conductors. If you're interested, come find me." So I was like, I'm about to transition into my next phase of life, and I don't have a job yet. So let's see what that is. So I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, I'm really interested in learning about that opportunity." He was like, "Great, I forgot the flyers, so find me tomorrow and I'll give you the flyer." Ariana, I love you so much. That conference was way too big and I did not find him.
Oh, man.
Oh no, okay.
So I was like, okay, well obviously that opportunity wasn't for me. Like, it's just not meant to be, whatever. And so month goes by. It's lingering in the back of my mind, but like I'm finishing up OSU, I'm looking at other opportunities. All of my family is back home in Georgia, so I was like, okay, do I want to go back home yet? I could just move home and find something to do when I get there. And I looked up one Saturday morning, I think, and it was like, where is Ariel from? So I just started doing some Google searching, some detective work, as I like to call it. And I found out that he was in Delaware, or he was near Delaware. And I was like, okay, so children's chorus is in.
Wow.
Saw Wilmington Children's Chorus, went onto their page, and lo and behold, there was the thing.
Yeah.
It was 2 days before the application was due.
Wow.
So I emailed Kim and was like, hey, I know that your deadline is due, but I just refound this opportunity and I would like to submit my materials. Can I have a day or two more? She emailed me back and was like, of course, just get it in by the weekend and we'll go from there. And then somehow I duped them into bringing me out here. Somehow I tricked them into letting me come.
Gotcha.
Suckers.
And we are so lucky.
I love
Incredibly
that.
lucky.
What was it about her that you were like, yes?
I mean, it was ultimately the way she worked with the children. I mean, we brought her in, and another candidate in. That was kind of the final phase of the interview process. We flew someone in from New York and
I felt
Ariel
so
from
fancy.
Ohio. I
Ooh,
know,
there
right?
we go. Okay.
And you know, we did know in that initial interview process, we did a Zoom interview first. You know, we immediately felt that connection, that history that Ariel has from her work with the Spivey Hall Children's Choir, Choir. Thank you.
No, it's okay. I forget to.
Children's choir is baked into who she is.
Yeah.
And just, you know, so smart and so.
Honestly, what I peeped really quickly is I don't know if you caught it, but the way that she handed off the baton during that conversation was butter. Like she finished and she just caught it and was like, hey, and I was like, wow, that is chemistry. That was fantastic.
I love it.
And it's on the podium too. I mean, chemistry with the kids, really the way Ariel speaks about music and the way she conducts it, everything is just, it's different from Phil and I, and that's incredibly powerful. But our kids need to see that. They need that other perspective. And when she stood up in front of the kids knew it too. You could just feel the energy in the room. They were like, yes. And the way they talked about her afterwards, we knew that was the best fit. And we're so glad you're here.
So we have this weekend's event, and I know that you told us there are more events coming that you guys are planning for. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
So our spring concerts will be April 26th and 28th. And they are entitled Someday. And oh shoot, our voices shape the future?
Something like that,
It's coming. Someday.
We just let the kids vote on it. So it was like, what did they want? What did they want again? Okay, cool.
Yep.
So it's really kind of exploring this idea of legacy and what our children and I shouldn't say children, and they always feel weird when they call them children because our performing choirs are really ages 6 up to 18.
Okay.
So the way they see themselves as wanting to move forward in the world and how they want to influence our world as they grow, both as our choir and as individuals. So it's music that explores that theme, but also gives them opportunities to do some writing, some visual art, any kind of artistic contribution that they want to make, a little bit of narration in our concert talking about their vision. That's really the next step in this process. And that idea came through Ariel's titling of this concert that we're doing now, A Joyful Noise, The Life and Legacy of Daniel L. Ridout Jr.
Yeah.
So we wanted to continue to explore that and say, okay, how do we take this to the next level and have our choristers really envision their future?
Yeah.
And I think they've done that in a really, I am technically the oldest member of this generation in which we're working with for the performing choirs. And so 24, so technically speaking, I'm right in the oldest bit of where they are. And so much of our generation kind of struggles with like nihilism and like nothing really matters. And like
That's horrible.
It is a freeing proposition, and that's kind of what I've been trying to help, craft, because it can be very dark. It can be very, the world's a mess, and there's no way in which we can fix that, and it's just nothing matters. But like, there is so much freedom in nothing matters, so make something beautiful. So make something kind. So make, like, take that not as chains that you're bound with, but as, you can do something.
This is a whole paragraph quote that I'm going to replay.
I'm like, oh my God.
When your legacy is set, there will be a picture of you in black and white with that, nihilism and all that. Oh my, okay.
She said nihilism.
Talk heavy, Ariel. Talk heavy.
I told you.
Right. That was beautiful.
She preaching up in here.
Pastor's kid, yeah, I'll do it every now and then. But yeah, it's this idea that nothing matters. So what are we going to do?
Yeah.
How are we going to take that there's nothing holding us back to make something beautiful and kind that we want?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the music has themes of community, themes of love, themes of uplift. We're doing Avicii's Hey Brother. I was like, yes, that's fun, it's crazy, it's weird, but what he's talking about is so much about how do we take care of one another. And when I was in children's chorus, Miss Abar, who is our general manager at that time, she used to tell us all the time that being in choir, the easiest part of being in choir is making music. The hardest part is taking care of one another. And I think that has been something that in our conversations and in the giving them the space to talk and to give us their feedback, to craft this concert, has been lots of themes of, okay, nothing matters, so how are we going to take care of each other?
Wow.
I love that.
Yes.
You want to talk more about the summer stuff yet, or are we not there yet?
Sure.
Yeah, because I have so much to say about specifically Summer of Song,
Sure.
So please, yeah.
Yeah, so Summer of Song, we do a ton of stuff over the summer. Sometimes we go on a cultural exchange with our high schoolers to Germany, which was this past summer. We work with a youth orchestra there. We have our own in-house summer camp, and we partner with community organizations over the summer. So every other summer, and this coming summer will be one of those, we do what we call Summer of Song, which is a really intensive 2-week program. Yeah, exactly. Where we take teachers and teaching artists into a bunch of different community centers and summer camp programs to work with kids in that elementary age range, kind of like our neighborhood choir program, but in a very intensive summer footprint, where we're just teaching them a little bit about how to use their voices, how to explore music, learning a few songs, something that's familiar to them, something new to them, and then also creating their own song that really speaks to who they are as their community organization. If they're from Walnut Street YMCA, they're singing about their life at Walnut Street YMCA and in their community. So it's that idea of, everyone can make music, everyone can express themselves with their voices, and then really lifting up our young people, saying, you deserve to be on a main stage. And that's really the culminating project, is putting it up. This year it will be at the Urban Artists Exchange Amphitheater, which is this beautiful new amphitheater down on 16th and Walnut, I guess it is. And we were on Rodney Square the previous year, and just showcasing their incredible talent and spirit, and the work that our teaching artists, one of whom was Jay, the work that they do in these sites is really incredible, to really empower these young people to use their voices and create something original.
So I have to say this because you guys need to have a bigger perspective on how powerful that program was. This was 2 summers ago for me, and it was literally the highlight of my summer. And I gotta say, I've already said, I was the person who walked into a chorus and was my goal was to basically torture you till you kicked me out so I didn't have to be there. And so I walk into the situation knowing ding dang darn well that, assuming that these kids are going to do to me what I would have done. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be a pain. And I'm
not everybody is like you. I just want to put that out there.
So I go to these kids on East Side. And it was fantastic. The kids completely bought in. And, if I could, I might even do it. I'm going to try to, There's a picture. Who took that photo?
Bob Haynes.
Bob Haynes took a
Parent
photo
of an alumni,
of me and the whole chorus, and you just saw my back, but you saw the kids. You saw every child on that stage, and at that point that he captured, literally, how many kids in that class? Was it like 40 or so?
At least, yeah.
Every
Massive
child
children.
is smiling from ear to ear and in a complete state of joy. And that's why that was such a highlight for me, because that's how I want for the kids in our city to feel all the time. For them to have that experience, for that moment, I was like, oh man, this is the recipe. You know what I mean? So,
and there's a lot of people that would look at that and say, well, that's not choir. You know,
it was totally choir.
It's choir. It's people singing together. That's choir. That is what choir
expanding that
is.
definition.
And
is
none of
so
them were
important.
trained singers, none of that. They just most people can carry a basic melody. We had some buckets, some drumsticks, and bang, it was beautiful.
Sure.
So, yeah.
How can we, the people watching, find out more about joining or volunteering or coming to the events?
Yeah, well, our website is a great place to start, wilmingtonchildren'schorus.org. We also have, Instagram and Facebook are probably our most active social media sites. So those are great places to start with us. There's always a place you can contact us there. And just reach out. We have auditions every September and January. We have our summer camp is enrolling right now. That'll be towards the end of June. There's opportunities to volunteer for sure, opportunities to donate. My executive director would be unhappy if I didn't say that, if you want to support these 650 plus kids that we have singing here in Wilmington. And by the way, everything is tuition free. There are no costs to participate in any of our programs. So all of this is supported by grants, foundations, and individual donors. So come visit our website for our concert tickets for February 10th and then April 26th and 28th. There most likely will be some tickets available at the door, but we always suggest buying your tickets in advance, beat the crowds, and oftentimes we do sell out, so that is recommended. So wilmingtonchildren'schorus.org. And come join us, come see our concerts, and just hear all of the power of these children's voices and the incredible work that Ariel's doing, this incredible legacy of Daniel Ridout Jr. here in Wilmington, and support us and support our kids, and come see Jay this summer, and Naj too. I hope you'll be there with us.
Listen, I'm ready. I'm ready. I love seeing some singing babies.
A party. Yes.
I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you guys for watching. Any last words? I'm waiting for her because
I talked a lot, Ariel.
Look at this stuff.
But
Isn't it neat?
but paying homage to the Sound of Music. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We're gonna do the high one.
Goodbye.
What?